Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Wealthy and Worthy Wednesday. So, as you probably already ascertained, I am not live with you all this week, right? We are not live, and here's why. By the time you watch this, my team and I are already heads down, finishing the last details for something we've been building towards for over a year now, right? So, instead of a live show today, I sat down and I recorded this for you because what I have to say this week matters too much to skip. So let's get into it. Now, if you are new here, or even if you've been around for a while, I want to remind you exactly what wealthy and worthy actually is, okay? Because it's easy to make assumptions or close the gaps because you're seeing our events, you're seeing the content, you're seeing our community, but you may have missed the through line underneath it all. Okay. So here's the truth about what I've built and why this whole movement is focused on ambitious women. All right. So, as a demographic, we are taught how to earn, right? Particularly as highly ambitious Black women, there's no question, right? We show up, we show out, we know how to do the thing, right? We know how to work hard, we know how to grind, hustle, right? All the things that get the degrees, the promotions, the businesses, the kids, the family, all the things. Nobody had to teach us, right, how to dominate, right? But what many of us have not been taught is what to do after we've actually gotten the money. After the money shows up, how do you multiply it? How do you protect it? How do you preserve it for the people who come after you? That is the gap that I'm solving for, right? Between earning and everything after earning. That is the entire reason why Wealthy and Worthy exists in the first place. It's why we're always talking about career, wealth, wellness, relationships, and legacies as our 5 pillars to the brand and not just one thing, right? You often hear me say when I talk about wealth, I'm talking about so much more than just money. It is a holistic view of wellness because building a life that is actually wealthy in substance and actually worthy, right, was never just about income. So this weekend, our community is gathering in Atlanta for the first time in person for Wealthy and Worthy Mastermind. Now, I want to tell you why in person still matters to me, right? It would have, I'm just keep it real, it would have been much easier for me to just keep doing events online, actually, a lot less stressful, right? However, what I am super, super convicted about is that in a world where everything can kind of happen from your office, from your couch, right? On the go, from your phone. There's something that happens when 20, 50, 100, 150 women are in the same space, right? Being honest and opening up to talk about money, the weightiness of leadership, the weightiness of families, kids, partners, burnout, right? All the parts that come with building a life that don't make it to the highlight reels. Okay. They're not posting that on social media, right? The point is that you cannot replicate that authentic connection over a screen. The energy in this room is going to be rooting for you in real time. The friends that you may connect with who are like minded and like spirited while you're in the line waiting for coffee or during the snack break, right? The moment that someone says out loud the thing that you have been up endlessly thinking about, pondering about the problem that you've been trying to solve, right? That goes way beyond content. That is when we move into transformation. And transformation happens best when you're actually in the room. Right? When we're actually together. So that is why my team and I have invested in these 3 days. It's 3 days a year, and it isn't optional to me. Again, I could take the easy route, right? But it is really the anchor for everything else that we do. All right. And so I want to also, since you're here with me today, I want to also give you all a sneak peek into some of the things that we are building kind of behind the scenes, right? So I'm gonna lift the veil a little bit, all right? Because I think you all would want to know this. So while you're watching this, my team and I are deep in it. We're finalizing those agendas, we're walking the venue, we're prepping the speakers, making sure that every detail is not perfect. We're not aiming for perfection, but we are aiming for excellence, right? We want to serve you well, from the way that the rooms feel when you walk in, to the questions that we're anticipating that you want answered, the questions that you all have submitted to us to answer live. Has all of it, right, has been thought through in advance, right? And so this is not, a traditional conference that we're just putting together. This is something that we've been building with intention for over a year, because we know that the women who show up deserve a room that was built with them in mind and not just booked for them, right? So now I want to talk to you directly about something that I'm going to be talking a lot more about this weekend, because I don't want you to hear it for the first time from somebody else's recap, right? Again, the gap that I am super, super focused on addressing is that most women are taught how to earn, and very few, particularly Black women, are taught how to multiply that money, protect that money, and preserve it without working harder or without burning themselves out on the way there, right? And so that is why Wealthy and Worthy exists as our event. And that is also why Legacy League exists, which is our private community. So what I want to share with you all is the Legacy Wealth Lab. All right. Again, solving for the gap, because we can talk about the problems all day long. I'm here for solutions and action. What are we doing? What are you doing, right, to close that gap from where you are to where you may hope to be or aspire to be? Most of the women in our private community are striving to be wealthy in all the ways that we describe, but also financially, right? That is an important factor. And so Legacy Wealth Lab is where we start to close that gap for real, right? It's hands-on, it's 90 days, and I will be doing it with you. So here's exactly what it is, all right? I want to lay it out for you. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, all right? So for 90 days, this is going to be a guided experience where we will help you, my team and I will help you learn how to invest in the stock market, starting with getting those accounts set up, right? We have a 10-day boot camp for our new members where you're live with us. You're getting that hands-on support. When you have a question, you can get it answered expeditiously. Our private community is ridiculously supportive, and so they are also responsive, right? We are then going to be working with you consistently, week after week, for those 90 days. I want to be very clear, all right, about what this is, and just as clear about what this is not, all right? This is not a do for you experience. This is a do with you experience, okay? I'm not trading for you. I'm not investing for you. I am not blindly handing you signals or plays to run that you just blindly follow. No, ma'am. Okay. We are in the markets together. We are looking at trends together. We are taking calculated risk with strategy together. We are learning together. We are practicing and getting those reps in together. And we are reviewing your decisions together to make sure that they align with the goals that you have for building, multiplying that wealth. All right. And I think it's also important that I'm honest with you about something else. This is not about turning you into a day trader. I actually had a conversation with a friend this weekend, and she's like, but wait, like, don't I have to be like sitting at screens all day? Like, how can I, do this? And I was like, absolutely not. I am not a full-time day trader, okay? The goal is not to turn you into a trader. The goal is options. Plural, literally, and figuratively. Okay, because if you've been around any time, you hear me say options give you options, ma'am. Okay, and when you understand how to trade, how to invest, how to engage in the stock market, you are no longer waiting on that raise, praying for that promotion. You're not at the expense of somebody else's permission on when you can take time off, when you can, or how you can grow your money, right? You are not at the whim of priorities and budgets. Okay, friend? Because you now have more options. All right. So this is a high touch, it is intimate. We are going to know who you are. Okay. So if you are quiet and you trying to like duck out and not be present and engaged, we gonna check in on you, friend. Right? This is also not a course that sits on the shelf waiting for you to get around to it. That course that you bought that you never quite completed, right? It is structured, yes, because everything I do is structured. However, it is also supported, and it is going to ask something real of you to show up for yourself. Be consistent, ask the questions, be willing to be seen, and be willing to practice before you risk real money. All right. And here's why we call it Legacy League in the first place, because I know that legacy is not inherited for many of us. It's invested, and it's invested intentionally. Wealth building is not this lofty dream, it is strategy. Okay. And so it's not what happens to your children by accident. It's what you are going to build on purpose, starting with a decision like this one, right? I'll be talking a lot more about Legacy Wealth Lab this weekend in Atlanta. And if you are in the room with us, I want you to lean in. All right. And if you're not, I still want you to hear this directly from me, because this matters too much to leave out. Okay. When we look at the data specifically for Black women, we are the most educated demographic in the United States. However, when it comes to wealth, we are one of the lowest. It's completely unacceptable. And it's not about competence or intelligence. It is simply about access, knowledge, and support for implementation. All right. So it's time to lock in, friend. Right. And just to also be very clear, okay, because clear is kind, I'm never going to position something or promise you a specific outcome or a specific number, or even really honestly focus on the money. The money comes. When you have the strategy, the money is the natural byproduct. But what I can promise you is a real process, real support, and a community that's building right alongside of you. For anything that's more advanced, like tax strategy, retirement specifics, right? That's always a conversation with a licensed professional and not with me, on a Zoom screen, right? All right. So here's where that leaves us. Okay. If you're heading to Atlanta this weekend, I can't wait to see you. I'm super excited to meet so many of you all in person. I will see you there, and I cannot wait to tell you more about the Legacy Wealth Lab in person. And if Atlanta just wasn't your season this year, I'm still super glad that you've popped in with us for the last year for Wealthy Worthy Wednesdays. I'm super glad that you decided to spend the day with me today. There is so much more coming for this community that is beyond even this next weekend, right? And so I want to leave y'all with that. We are here. We are rooting for you always. And we'll see you. The crew will be back next Wednesday as we recap our live experience in Atlanta, which I know is just going to be incredible. And so we'll see you again next Wednesday, same place, same time. And until then, stay wealthy and stay